The NWSL, the not watched soccer league. We have never talked about this league of irrelevancy up until last week, and here I sit for the second week in a row, getting ready to blast the NWSL for something stupid they've done. In case you guys didn't know, and judging by the numbers this league typically draws, most of you don't, the NWSL season's going on right now. And this league, like others, crowns a champion at the end of the season. When a team wins a Super Bowl, that's a real champion. The NFL is the most competitive league we have in this country. It is tough to win a Super Bowl, which is why Tom Brady is so special. Tom Brady, he is going to end up eclipsing Michael Jordan as the greatest athlete of all time, if he hasn't already. Now, the same goes in the NBA. It is tough to win a championship in the NBA. The playoffs are brutally hard. Regular season's long, 82 games. College basketball, same thing. You got to go through a high-pressure, single-elimination tournament to be crowned champion. Major League Baseball, college football. If you win a championship in the NWSL, are you a real champion? Champion of what? 90% of the players on the field are asking if you want fries with that in the offseason. Now, I guess I shouldn't be that hard on these ladies. I do have respect for their love of soccer. I'm sure they work extremely hard, and they're not doing this for the money. They ain't making any money. You can't accuse them of playing in the NWSL for the money. They are in it for the love of the game. But it's stories like the one I'm about to share with you that make it difficult for me to respect players in the NWSL. The championship game is on November the 20th. It was scheduled to be held in Portland, which makes sense. Portland is responsible for 33% of the league's attendance. Portland is a soccer town. It's also a city full of bleeding heart tree huggers, but I digress. When your league struggles to sell tickets, you want to hold big special events in cities where you have the potential to make money sell tickets. Portland would be a city that you would consider for a soccer league. But the NWSL Championship, it's not going to be held in Portland. When I heard this story earlier, the first thought that came to mind was maybe they noticed the homeless neighborhood downtown and changed their mind. Downtown Portland is littered with cardboard houses, all throughout the parks, all through the streets. I'm not being facetious either. These are actual cardboard houses built, paid for by the government. Google it for yourself. It looks like a damn neighborhood, a roach's paradise. But that was not the reason this game was moved. The publicized reason for the NWSL Championship moving from Portland to Louisville is the allegations of sexual assault against Paul Riley. He coached in Portland for a few years, and that would just trigger these ladies during the biggest game of their careers. That is the bullshit they're feeding to the media, but that's not the real reason. And that excuse, it doesn't make sense anyway. Fans in Portland have been overly supportive of the players in the NWSL. They didn't get upset when they stopped the game last week for 6 minutes to protest. Portland is one of, if not the wokest city in the country. I know someone who lives out there. He says it's like living in another country. It's not America. Brain dead wokers walking around everywhere. You would have better odds of the NWSL actually selling out a game than finding a person with a functional brain working in government in Portland. And what is this trend going on right now of generalizing everything? Paul Riley is accused of sexual assault. We must move the game out of Portland. The entire organization is stained. John Gruden sent questionable emails. The entire NFL is racist. This is why black people never trust white people. You guys know Peter Rosenberg? If you don't, consider yourself fortunate. Peter Rosenberg is a tiny mite with a big mouth. He's over 40 years old and he still gets off on cartoon wrestling. He somehow landed a gig at ESPN, likely by planting his nose right between the cheeks of Stephen A. Smith. He actually went on ESPN radio earlier today and said John Gruden is an example of why all black people don't trust any white person. And now the woke are going after Adam Schefter over an email he sent Bruce Allen 10 years ago. He sent Bruce Allen a story that he was working on, asking him to fact check the story. And in the email, he called him Mr. Editor, probably just joking around. It sent woke Twitter into Armageddon mode. Blue check marks everywhere put on their journalistic cap and questioned the integrity of Adam Schefter. It's funny because these same people work in a media full of corruption, lies, fake story, propaganda. These same people have the audacity to call out Adam Schefter over one mistake. That's how it works, though, in the woke community. You guys know that. You're not allowed to make mistakes. Doesn't matter if you're a card-carrying member of the agenda. That's why I don't understand why people like Adam Schefter kiss the ass of the mob. This story has the same ending every single time. At some point, you're going to screw up and you're out of the woke club. But anyway, I'm getting way off topic here. Let's get back to the NWSL. The bullshit excuse of moving the championship from Portland to Louisville because Paul Riley is accused of sexual assault and once coached in Portland is just that. Bullshit. The real reason this game's being moved to Louisville is because NWSL players didn't approve of the 9 a.m. start time. In Louisville, they'll start at noon. The game is starting at this specific time because for some unknown reason, CBS has decided to air the game on national television. They weren't going to waste a primetime slot on Saturday afternoon for it. That's for college football. They weren't going to bump something like Survivor or NCIS during the week. Those shows actually draw ratings. So they threw the NWSL a bone, put them on at noon Eastern, 9 Pacific. That's just unacceptable for the ladies in the NWSL. You can't expect us to be awake that early in the morning. Night shift at Walmart doesn't end until 3 a.m. We need time to sleep. In my 30 plus years watching sports, I have never seen something like this, especially with a championship game. Moving a championship because the players don't approve of the start time? What the hell is going on? Where's the leadership in the NWSL? Clearly, the inmates are running the asylum, which is a death sentence for a professional sports league. There are many reasons that the NFL is successful, but one of the reasons is there's only one man in charge, Roger Goodell. It's the same reason the WWE has experienced long-term success. One man in charge, Vince McMahon. When players in a league have all the power, you end up in the same situation as the NBA, tanking revenues, tanking ratings. Players with more power than the commissioner. Owners like Mark Cuban changing his mentality, changing his values to accommodate players. I don't like players having the power they do in the NBA, but at least I can understand that. It's a star-driven league. But in the NWSL? How in the hell can players in the NWSL have any power? The league is on life support. No one cares about it. Can you name the top 3 players in the NWSL? Top 2? Hell, can you name a player in the NWSL? They allowed the players to send a complete FU to their fans in Portland. Think about all 3 of those people in Portland that bought tickets to the championship. Think about that one mother who was taking her 2 daughters to that game. How disappointed they're going to be. I guess those 3 people, they don't matter to players in the NWSL. Getting sufficient rest after the night shift at Walmart is more important. Can you imagine Tom Brady going to Roger Goodell and saying that he didn't want to play in the Super Bowl in New York because it's going to be too cold? Or LeBron James refusing to play in the NBA Finals in Charlotte because North Carolina had legalized slavery 200 years ago? Or Major League Baseball moving their All-Star game out of Atlanta over a voting right bill? Oh, wait, that actually happened, but you get my point. Beggars can't be choosers. Players in the NWSL should not have this kind of leverage. They'd struggle to draw fans to a championship game in 99% of the country if they played the entire game naked. And they move the game out of the city responsible for 33% of the league's attendance because the 9 a.m. start time is too early? Okay, Okay. You guys let me know what you think about this. Sound off in the comments below. Make sure to like and subscribe. Click the notification bell to receive all notifications from the channel. Best way to contact me is by email at btlkc84@gmail.com, KC_BTL84 on Twitter. I'll see you guys tomorrow.